welcome to Beauties and Beasties, the independent pest podcast of the UK.
Hello.
Now, young man, how the devil are you?
I'm doing very well. Oh, I'm excited about today. Yes, representing it large.
Just in case, Sean Muller, Billy, I've seen Sean's name pop up there. In case Billy and Stuart are watching, I've got my T-shirt. Does yours fit nice? Mine fits lovely, Al. Does yours?
You have got to stop winding these two up. Seriously, have they got their T-shirts yet?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, come on, man! This is too much.
Oh, the there's a story behind that which I can't even go into on air. I'm sure at some point the pictures will be emerging, but yeah, I'm not getting involved in it. That's all I'm going to say to you.
Oh my lord! It was very simple. We offered them T-shirts. It's taken 6 months to get them T-shirts. They are going to. They're going to lynch both of us because you haven't been able to get to the wrong.
So they've got our T-shirts, but they've had their own done. And it's not. It's like yeah. So, but I'm not getting involved. Yeah. So we've got T-shirts, and if anyone sees us at any of the events, I'm gonna start carrying them around the van, big box of them. Come and see us. I'm sure we will see them. Yeah. The elephant in the room. Yeah.
Everyone, we've got loads of people on today.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. Yeah, why? Why do we have a lot of people on today? Can you tell us any particular reason?
But before we go into this, I want to say that tonight, although me and Alex are probably seen as the face of the podcast, I want to say a massive thank you to Hugh. He can't come on tonight because he's got other stuff on. But he has spent the last however long organising this, organising the prizes, organising the questions, speaking to everyone, putting everything together. I promise you now, like, this wouldn't have happened without him. And he's like 90% responsible for it. So if everyone can send Hugh a message saying thank you very much, that would be a massive help. And from me to Hugh, you know, your hard work and effort is absolutely loved by us, so thank you very much. Wish you could have been on. We'll get you on again.
Oh yeah, I mean, the love Sean and I have for Hugh is intense. None of this would happen without Hugh. We are just the two talking idiots. Hugh is the driving force between this. And like I say, Hugh has been phenomenal. And you must have seen, the fact we've got loads of people online at the moment. In fact, we've got loads of people watching. Hugh has managed to rustle up. I think we did a quick count up. I think it's almost over the £2,000 mark in prizes for tonight.
It's way over that, mate. It's bossed that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
What's the count at?
I don't know, but it's definitely went over that. Definitely, 100%. It's went over that. You know, I can think of 3 prizes together, which probably come to the 1,000, and I think we're at 20. How many prizes are now? 20 something? Is it 20 something?
21 people have donated prizes. Now, very quickly, I just have to say, for those who are listening on Spotify thinking, oh, what's the point in listening to a quiz show that I'm not going to be able to participate in and do the rest of it? You still can participate. Okay. All you have to do is you have to get your entries in by 6 p.m. or GMT on Monday, okay, onto the Beauties and Beasties Facebook page. So if you're listening to this in the car on Monday morning or on Sunday evening while you do the washing up and, you know, scrubbing your spuds, then you still time. You can get onto the Beauties and Beasties page and you can make a comment, put yourself in for a prize draw. Now with that, I'm going to go through some quick terms and conditions just while they're there, so everyone knows how we can play. And again, Hugh wrote this for us. But the Podcast 100 quiz, the rules on how to enter. So number 1, each prize has its own quiz question attached to it. We will announce the question and the number during the podcast. I will also, in the comments, put the question in the comments. So comment on that question, comment on that comment for your chance to be in that prize draw. Okay, simple answers. Submit your answers by commenting on that comment on the social media post. Or if you really can't find it, email us into Beauties and Beasties with the question number on there. But by far and away, the easiest place to do it will be on our Facebook page. Okay, the deadline, all entries must be received by 6 p.m. British Standard Time on Monday, the 12th of May. Late entries not be accepted. The winner, selected through correct answers, will go into a prize draw. So we've got a big flashy prize draw wheel, and we will spin it. So everyone that has the right answer on that particular post will get put into the prize draw, and you'll get picked at random. So the more prizes you enter for, the higher the likelihood is that you'll get picked for something on there. One winner per prize, unless stated otherwise. Claiming the prizes, so winners will be announced after the closing date. Contact us within 7 days of the announcement to collect your prize. If no contact made, then we're going to just select a new winner for that. Unfortunately, because a lot of this stuff requires posting out, only open to UK mainland residents. You must be over 18 to enter.
Just quickly before you move on from that, it's only open to UK mainland entrants. If you are from another country, please will you just write in the comments where you're from? That would be massively helpful, and I'll explain at a later date. But if you could write that in, that would be really helpful.
And with this is a completely open prize draw. You're here, you're in it to win it. There's no purchase required. This isn't a pyramid scheme. We're not going to ask you for your bank details to release your supply of, mole traps and spades. So finally, 1 entry per person per question, multiple entries using different emails, different names or pseudonyms will be disqualified. And we know all of you that have Moody accounts. We see your names. We know exactly who you are and where you are. Okay. And we may substitute a prize with another or equal value if you are, unable to collect it. And by entering, you consent to have your name announced when you win. There we go. There's all the T's and C's. So hopefully we should all be happy. So just as a bit of a test, guys, in the comments, tell me, comment under this post. Are you ready? So you should see a comment coming up now on the Beauties and Beasties page and on the Killline page. If you're listening on LinkedIn, simply just comment on the LinkedIn post with yes, and then when the questions come up, simply just write question 1 and then your answer to question 1. Okay, but for your Facebook and for your YouTube, just comment underneath, are you ready? Just comment yes, let us all know that you're ready, and we will start the game.
Just quickly before we start, I tell you what I do want to say is, to all the people who have donated a prize, thank you very much. We never, honestly, hand on my heart, we never ever dreamt for one moment that we would get the support that we've had on this. That being said, I think for anybody watching this who doesn't understand how the pest control industry is there for one another, this has got to be that moment, hasn't it? Where it's like, it's fair to say it's bowled us over. The support that we've had from everybody across the board, from everyone. So thank you. Really appreciate it.
It's been mad. And as we've said several times before, this whole podcast started with me and Sean arguing about FICAM D a long time ago, literally having a bit of a Barney online and thinking, this is quite entertaining. We should do this more often. But as you say, we're a small community in the UK. We've got like 5 major manufacturers, 4 major distributors, 5 major distributors maybe, and about 10,000 pest managers. We're a small community. This podcast probably gets to a little over 1,000 or more people, or probably more actually, every week. We get to almost 10% plus of the UK pest management sphere. And so with that, you're part of a community that's probably, it's absolutely mad. And the fact that so many people what's FICAMD? So many people have got involved with this, and so many people have willingly approached us to offer prizes has been phenomenal. I mean, when we first said, are we going to do prizes? Sean, Hugh and I were like, oh yeah, let's just chuck in £50 each from our own pocket and we'll do that.
Yeah, that was if anyone thinks I was taking the piss there, that is literally what we thought we were going to do for the 100th episode. Like it was, wasn't it? So yeah.
We thought we're just going to do a bit of a funny quiz, both get drunk on screen and chuck £50 in each, but this shit's got serious now. So there we go.
Good. But yeah,
Right.
let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
Yeah,
So
everyone's ready. Everyone's going for it. Super duper.
never. So number one, let's do this. So the number one prize. This is going to take a little bit. I'm having to swap between screens here. So first out of the gate, question number one, sponsored by the NPTA. They've given 2 questions, so 2 prizes there, 2 people at any training day. Okay, so question is going in the comments now, and it will be scrolling along the banner at the bottom as well. Okay, and with that, we're going to give you 3 minutes to answer that question. Okay, so you can see there, timer is slowly going down. Sean, let's fill for 3 minutes.
And,
Have you ever been?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know the answers to these. I haven't been involved in it, so I would be guessing the same as you. And the truthful answer is I don't know.
Okay.
I've met one of the founders. I met him at an NPTA on the road day. Him, his daughter, and his granddaughter. I can't remember. Those yeah. So how old was he? Yeah, I don't fucking know. Yeah, like he literally. Look, I'm thinking about his age. He's probably he's about 70 or something now. Is he knocking on for 80? He's actually so I don't know.
Running on dangerous territory here, guessing people's ages. Yeah. I think it was it Benjamin Franklin or one of the US ambassadors once famously said, never always forget an age but never forget a birthday. So that's probably some good advice.
I'm going to guess 1981 for the very scientific reason of I was born in 1982 and it's the closest year to it.
Have you ever been on any of the NPTA training days?
The what, sorry?
Have you ever been on any of the NPTA training days?
Yeah, I got quite a few of them. I like them. There's been a massive change in the atmosphere surrounding them of late in a positive way, which is really, really interesting to see. Yeah, Fish for London, you do answer here. We'll pick them out at a later date.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have. I was going to go to Buckfast Abbey this year because I went to Manchester and I went to Nottingham, but I was just absolutely done, like grade A done, and I couldn't get down there. I told you about it actually in previous podcasts, so I won't back on about it, but yeah, seems like anyone watching, seems like 1993 is a pretty common answer. 1991, yeah. Isn't even an answer. I think Alex means 1981. Yeah, I agree that.
What did Alex do? Alex hasn't done anything.
Alex Rainsby's comment, he's wrote 1991. I'm like, it's not even an answer, but I know Alex, he's a good lad. I think he's just mispressed the button, and I'll take that as 1981, same as me.
Right, guys, I think there's about 10 seconds left. Don't panic, but furiously Google. And for anyone listening back on the Spotify, just the number of comments coming in is intense. But yeah, there we go. I should learn what the mastermind tune is so I can just hum it along, shouldn't I? There we go. And that's time up for question 1. Right. That was good. That's a good start, isn't it? Christ on a bike. So while I've got the timer running, I actually can't see the screen because I have to be on the PowerPoint presentation to let the timer run. So I can't see you. You're going to have to talk me through. I'm like a blind man here.
Yeah, that looks good.
Right.
I'll shout out the comments if they come in of interest also. Right. Question 2. Go on. Shoot for that.
Question 2. So let me just copy and paste this. I'm just going to put it in the comments now. Okay, so there we go. Question 2's in the comments. Question 2 is up on the board. And for this, it's again from the NPTA. And do you want to read the question out, Sean?
Yeah, so which chemical contact, I'll read it word for word because I'm rubbish at this. Which commonly used insecticide group targets the nervous system and includes products like permethrin and deltamethrin?
So you should know this. You've been on some of my insecticide courses, haven't you?
Yeah, I know this one.
Yeah, should know this one. I
Yeah,
was actually saying the other day, I put a comment up on Facebook. I don't think we talk enough about insecticides, to be fair. We kind of get an idea. We talk a lot about the pests and we talk a lot about the products, but I don't actually think we talk enough about the insecticides, because we all kind of like lump them all in together. And so we just use them as sort of like one big catch-all. But there's some really interesting subtle differences in there that we probably should have a better understanding of.
Do you know what it is though, Al? I promise you, as a pest controller, and I know this is like me, you'll think I'm not like an insect guy, and I'm not, and blah blah blah. But really, all I pretty much want is a graph of how strong they are and which one there is, so I can look up the line, and I just want a graph where it's like good for, yeah, strong, stronger, bit stronger again, really really strong. You know, like that's it. Yeah, like that. That's pretty much it. And then what they're good for. Do you know what I mean? Like what they're good for. And I don't want to hear about emulsum concentrates. I just want to hear about you have to put 25 mil in a thing, and this is good for spraying houses, or this is good for on furniture, or this is good for like silks and things like that. That's what I want to know. I want to know the practicalities of it. When can I use it? When can I not use it? When's it going to give us a headache if I use it incorrectly? Seems like everyone's wrote pyrethroid, so I'm guessing that's the answer. I'm going to guess pyrethroids because everyone's wrote that. Someone's wrote, here you go, Al. Why would they write Q2 pyrethroids?
Oh, because that's question 2, pyrethroids.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I thought it was one of the group.
Pyrethroids is correct. There is probably a more correct answer than just pyrethroids, though.
I don't know.
Oh, well, just there we go. Little bit of a maybe there. But yes, and you say like, can we use it on this? Can we use it on that? But I don't want to know about ECs, EWs, and SCs. It's the ED. It's all of those that let you know on which bit you can use it on best. Ironically, so there we go.
Yeah. Honestly, I promise you, like for me, chemicals, it's like what's on the label, and what can I do? So yeah, that's like, yeah, pyrethroids only used between April and June. What does that mean? Pyrethroid only used between April and June? Question 2. I don't know. You'll have to explain that at a later date. And just out of the thing, just to make this absolutely clear, this isn't 2 questions for 2 people in 2 days worth of training. This is 4 days worth of training. So if you win a one, you win 2 days worth of training for you, your pal, your colleague, your employee, whatever it is.
Awesome. Right. There we go. And I have to say, to answer the first question, one of the founders of the NPTA actually, I think at the same prize show that we both went to a couple of years back, the Pest Awards, they got the Lifetime Achievement Award, didn't they? I believe.
Did they?
Yeah. It's one to look up. I didn't want to say it at the time in case anyone wanted to Google that, because it would have like completely given the answer away. But yeah, they
Alex,
got
that's question 8. Come on. Oh, you just give them question 8, haven't you? You not read them all.
Yeah. No, that's not question 8.
I'm only joking.
Right. Yeah. So here is the next question. It's up now. Sean's going to read it out for you while I start the timer.
This is an interesting one. When and where was the earliest recorded use of pest control?
And so who's this question from?
So this is from George Jolliffe and JL Recruitment, and George Jolliffe came up with the question. But just to say that there's 2 people putting in for that, and they are £50 Amazon vouchers each, so it's actually £100 Amazon vouchers there. So both guests of the podcast, so we're looking forward to that one. That will be super duper. Quarter 2. What? So Rob Simpson wrote about the April, the thing he wrote, quarter 2, never lived the status of service dream, was a crap joke. I have a few. I still don't get it.
I can see this is going. I think this is a very Rob-specific joke right now.
Yeah.
I think this is, in fact, such an in-joke. It is a circle of one. But it sounds like Rob's having a very good time. So let's not slow him down or stop him.
Go on then, Al. What do you know? I'm going to be honest. I know the answer to this because it was one of the first ones I got put in, so I can't say it. But do you know when and where was the earliest recorded use of pest control?
Not necessarily, because there's so many different answers this could be, but I know for a fact that the first recorded insecticide, commercially used insecticide used, was a gentleman that would he harvested chrysanthemum plants, and he created his own factory in, I think it was Vienna, and it's still there to this day. And he would get the chrysanthemum, and he wouldn't do anything funny with it, like no chemistry, he wouldn't do anything smart. He would simply just get the chrysanthemum plants, he would hang them up, he'd dry them, and then he would just pestle and mortar them into a dust, and he would sell pouches of this dust as a miracle insecticide cure. So that, to my mind, is the first commercial pest control product that was, or chemical pest control product that was probably made, sold, and used. But for the first recorded instance of actual pest control, I don't know. It depends on what you class pest control as. I know they used to use pigs to control bed bugs, for example, in inns. I don't know. I don't know this one. So this could. I'll be excited to see what the answer to this one is.
So
when we announce the winners next week.
Clear who's a fucking cheater. It's absolutely immediately clear who is a cheater here because they've Googled it. And Dan's looks like AI's wrote his answer. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's literally, it's like War and Peace long. To be fair, he's finished off with not Googled honest, so he's clearly Googled it. But I'm not sure if that's actually totally correct. I don't know. 1840s, love the Googled answers. 3000 BC seems to be a very common thing. 4000 BC, China. The Bronze Age. When the fuck is the Bronze Age?
Wow. You're asking questions that I don't have answers to. It was probably somewhere after the Stone Age and before the Iron Age. That would be my large, very sort of like easy answer with that. Right, not to rush along, but
hang on a second. I've just got to bring some up because I think Mandy's lying. She wrote 4000 BC. There are cave paintings of the Chinese using ducks to control pests in paddy fields. Wouldn't that just literally be a picture of a duck in a field? How do you know it was controlling pests? Because if it was like eating something, do you know what I mean? I don't believe that one in the slightest. Mesopotamia, I don't know what that is. Right.
Mesopotamian, right. So next one up. So this prize is sponsored by Opticatch. They're offering a Halo 30 fly killer with LED tubes. Jasmine, who has offered this, did a fantastic little video for it. Also, Jasmine, along with many of the others, have been guests on Beauties and Beasties. So if you want to learn a bit more about Opticatch, if you want to learn a bit more about any of our guests, any of these prizes, go back, have a listen. But while I put these up, Sean is going to read you the question. So on your marks, get set, go.
How long is the lifetime and warranty on an Opticatch LED? Is it 3, 2, 5, or 1 years?
Have you started to make the trends? It is interesting, actually. It's interesting that we have a warranty for these things. But I was about to say, you've got a couple of sites now where you're using EFKs on your regular services. Have you started to make the switch over to using LEDs?
It's all we've got in. It's all we've got in. We don't have any fluorescent tubes. It's all LEDs that we've got in on every site. I'm very much a believer that when you see the big boys selling LEDs, you can hang on to the fluorescents. The problem that you have with that, for me, is that if someone comes in and competes against you and says, oh yeah, there's new technology here that you could have had or should have had, or this is the benefits of it, or drop your thing, they immediately look a little bit better than you and more prepared than you. So we just sell them LEDs. That's what we do. Yeah, that's it.
Have you found them? Have you noticed any big difference in that transition from fluorescence to LED?
No, I've heard people say they're a lot better. I've heard people say they're a lot worse. The thing is, and you'll like this, Al, because I've learned this. The one thing I'm well aware of is that this is really good advice for someone starting out. Your LED monitor is probably a better word for it, is not there to deal with your fly problem. It's there to tell you that there's a fly problem there. So whether you catch 10 big flies every month and then it goes up to 20 at the end of the year, or whether you're catching 5 and it goes up to 10, it is actually the trend that you are looking at, which is going to tell you what you want. I understand, and people go up, and you're like, well, on some sites, having 2,000 flies on a fly board isn't an issue. We've got a site like that where every fly catch is absolutely filled with them. Do you know what I mean? And it's right next to a landfill site. We do everything we can. It's more to keep the customers happy so that their staff know that something's being done. There's very little you can do. There's things on the windows, etc., etc. So if you are expecting the fly killer to solve your fly problem, you are pissing in the wind. It is a tool used to tell you what flies are there, to give you the life cycle for you to work out how best to deal with that problem and to monitor that problem, see the problem's getting better or worse. Agreed?
Absolutely, yeah. It's you can look for fly abundance over time. You can look for fly sort of like distributions across the site, and more importantly, as you say, you look for fly species. Big flies mean very very sort of like broadly. Big flies mean one thing. Little flies mean another thing. Nocturnal flies mean another thing. It all adds up at the end of the day. So yeah, huge amount of information to be had there. Right, on to our next question there. Go on, your turn. Who's our next
So our next one is from the legendary absolute legend of a Victor Meldrew man, and I mean that with all the sincerity, with a lot of sincerity, Mr. John Sage. He's nicely given us 4 of his steel rat valves, rat drain valves, whatever you want to call it. And whatever they cost after you've put them in, fitted them, etc. I bet you there's close to, depending on who you are, there'll be close to 500 to £1,000 worth of work off the back of them if you're putting them in. So, very, very, very good prize for those who use them. Well done. Love it.
Lovely stuff. Right. So the question that John has given us is, Sean?
What is the difference? Yeah, I like this one. I know this answer. What's the difference between a drain and a sewer?
So you should know this.
Alex, you like this. A drain is not the bloke who sits next to you in the pub that you can't escape from. Do you know what I mean? Looks the life out of you.
I think we're going to have a wooden spoon prize for the person who can give just the funniest answer to some of these, by far. Funny and appropriate. Let's not go sort of like upsetting popes, but if we have a genuinely funny answer to some of these, I'll think of a wooden spoon prize. But this is, I mean, I love the fact that our industry has branched into so many different directions. You go back 10 years and a drain was somewhere to do sewer baiting, and now we have drain cameras, we have rat flaps, we have all of this technology around drains. It's the thing I think I love the most about our industry is how diverse and how dynamic it is. And so much so that you sent your lads probably about this time last year, wasn't it, on a specialist drain course as a result?
No, to be honest with you, it was nearly 2.5 years ago. That,
really?
Ellis is our drain guy, and he's bossing it. To be fair, I turn up now and I just get in the way, and that's the truth. He's got his own little system. He works through things. I try and get involved, and I can see him. He's dead polite like that. and I can see him getting fucking frustrated because I'm like touching shit and trying to get involved. And in the end, I'm just like, "Do you want this?" Yeah, and he's like, "No." Like, all right. He's like, "It takes longer when you're here." So now I just let him get on with it, and he's class. He's class.
It can't have been 2.5 years ago, because I remember you telling us about your lads being on the course and how proud you were of them being on the course. And on one of the podcasts, and it was one of the podcasts when I was driving back from somewhere up north, and I had to pull over at like Clapham Junction or something, and I was just sat using McDonald's Wi-Fi, desperately trying to sort of like have a podcast with you at the same time as that's it. Kind of been 2.5 years ago, but mind you, we've been doing this a little while now, because it's
I know, I bet you it's got to be 2 years. It's got to be.
Yeah,
He's definitely not been. Yeah.
would have been one of our very early podcasts on Facebook. Shall I say, anyone who wants to listen back to our backlog, I would very kindly ask that you don't go so far back as the very beginning, because the first 5 or 6, oh dear lordy, excellent guests, terrible production. It was really.
I watch Sean's now and I think, fucking hell, if we were that good at the start, do you know what I mean? Like, because we are miles off of it. All I can say, right, is that question has been mint because it's given so many different answers of what people think is the difference between a drain and a sewer. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I'll have to read back some of these because I can't see them, but like there's definitely some, there's definitely going to be, some of these prize pools are going to be big and some of these prize pools are going to be interesting. So I really love to see we got that. And again, people who are listening on Spotify right now and you're just listening in for the lols, you can still play, you can still get involved. There is still time. Run over to your computers right now. Do it. So who's up next? Who's our next question from?
Question 6. You've got them up. Bring them up. But sorry, Defender Bird Spikes, of course. If anyone hasn't seen the video that Kirsty and the team did, it's absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And I can tell you now, without Alex even bringing the prize up, they've brought some of the irritators out. And if anyone hasn't seen them, that basically, when it chimney sits up and it comes against your apex roof, goals.
Hang on. Tell me all about these whilst we are chatting, whilst we've got this up. So here's the question. Sean's going to read it out to you, and I am going to get this running. So,
why is the irritator different to standard spikes?
Maybe it was best we didn't discuss that.
There's lots of things. There's lots of things that people will think is the answer, but there is one answer that is when you hear it, you'll be like, yeah, I get it. So you're gonna, if you haven't seen it, it's a set of spikes which sit between the chimney and the roof. When you've got apex roofs with chimneys, gulls love building behind them, don't they? Love it, absolutely love it. It's like their perfect spot, isn't it? And they've been designed to deal with that area there. But there is a very, very, very subtle answer. Sarah Calderwood had said the irritator is flexible and spikes are fixed and static. Could be that. They're longer and are fixed in the chimney. Could be that. Irritator strands that bounce. Spikes are rigid. They're like daddy long legs, kind of. Yeah, designed not to stop them landing, but to irritate their backs when trying to nest. Hughes wrote the angle of the dangle. Irritator projects out and makes the birds uncomfortable brushing against them. All of these are correct, and they may or may not be the answer. The irritator dangles. There is something very different about the irritator spikes. And when it's pointed out, you're like, oh yeah. Non-stationary, similar to daddy long legs, but vertical. Yeah, I think, and to be fair, if anyone doesn't do any gull work and you get that work in, if you've never dealt with gulls in them areas, they are persistent pigs. Like, I don't know if you've ever dealt with it before, Al, but gulls will literally, if you try and spike that area between the chimney and the roof on its own, just try and spike it. The gulls are that clever that they'll sit on the pot with mouthfuls of shit and drop it into the spikes and build the shit up higher than the spikes and then nest there anyway. They are the most awkward things in the world, aren't they?
And I imagine actually it's probably because there's some behavior response, because these animals are nesting on jagged, cliff edges, normally under normal circumstances, and no cliff edges, they're going to want a flat surface, but no cliff edges necessarily a flat surface. It's a load of crags and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's probably part of their behavior to look for these sort of like void spaces and just fill them with stuff to give themselves a flat area. So yeah, it's probably playing straight into their innate behavior. But there we go. Right. Time is
hang on a second, just to run over this for Susan. How do we win things? I wasn't at the start. Please explain again. Read the questions, put your question number in with your answer in. You can go back, watch it again. You can put them in later. You've got until Monday evening to get it done. And then we will go through and we'll pick them out when we get a chance.
Yeah, I'm also putting all the questions up on the chat as we go along. So if you answer underneath the question, it'll make it even easier for us to find as we do that. So there we go. Right, next one up. I was unsure about this particular company. I was all set to veto them. I hear that the guy that runs it is a bit of a rogue, but I'll let you introduce him, Sean.
Yeah.
Who is
so we've got two mold spades. We'll pick two winners and they'll go out separately. I made these.
Who are they being donated by? Who are they donated by?
Yeah. So the British Pest Register's donated these, or whoever, but it was ours. They're powder coated. They are steel. They're not sharpened at the end. For anybody who does any mole catching, especially using these spades, we all like them to be sharpened in a different way. Put a grinding disc, a flap disc on your little grinder and just buzz them up the way you want them. I want to tell you that it was my idea. It fucking wasn't. It was Alan Jones's idea. And I made them because of that. But Alan now, and I want to stress this, Alan now sells a spade like this. Think through UK Putange Supplies. So if you don't win these, I don't have any more. Don't contact us. I literally, these were like a little batch that we did. Give Alan a ring. His are just as good, if not better. They cut the perfect size sod to put your half barrel trap in. And if you watch Alan's videos,
tell me about them.
The what?
Tell me about them after the question. Tell me about them while we're filling for 3 minutes. Otherwise, you're not going to have any filling material.
Go on. Question.
The question is up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I came up with this question. How many digits does a mole have?
Why did you say digit? It seems a really weirdly specific term to use there. Digit.
How many digits does a mole have?
So yeah, tell me a bit more about these spades.
Oh no, you know what's pissing us off? You know what's really fucking annoying is nobody's answered straight away. You know what that means, don't you?
Everyone's Googling.
They are clearly Googling this because they don't know. Just have a guess.
But does that not say that they really want your spades? They're so invested into winning these prizes, into winning your spades, that they're willing to sort of like do this. Either way, like, tell us a bit more about the spades, because we've got 3 minutes now and 3 minutes on your next question as well.
One of the things, if you speak to Matthew Price and Alan Jones, they'll tell you there's two reasons why traps get backfilled: position and the weight is set. The position thing is a whole different conversation for another date. The weight is set, especially with barrel traps. You want it tight. There needs to be no movement in that trap at all. It has to be part of the floor. So you put it in, put your soil over it, and then push the soil tightly down the side to pack it in. Don't put your sod back on, it interferes with your spring. But what you absolutely need is that trap to be tight. It's incredibly difficult to get that trap tight if the hole is the wrong size. It's not rocket science if it's wobbling around, etc. So the trap, the spade, which was Alan Jones's creation, can't stress it enough. He basically cut his original, which I used on the mole course with him. He cut a spade down to be 6 inches, and then he welded two sides on, just over half the the depth of the trap. So you can cut it, start with it away, spin it round, 2 cuts. And there's a video of Alan putting traps in the floor in 10 seconds. I promise you. And when you go on a course with Alan Jones, that's not for the video. That is fucking how fast he'll put them in. So when you see Alan and Matthew putting in 150, 200, 250 traps in a day, it is through that ability. But I have 2. I have my original prototype, which I use, and then I got some more made, which were powder coated and looked after. There's 2 left. They are going out. After that, if you want one, contact UK Putange Supplies or Alan Jones. They'll put you in touch with the people who sell them. I'm sure they do.
And just to clarify, because you've got 2 questions here, you've got this one and the next one. It's 1 spade per
one spade per question. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. 1 spade per question. Yeah.
Lovely stuff. There we go. So that's your time for your first one up. How many of those do you reckon took a decent punt on it?
Do you know what it is? If anyone's watching this, or any of you want to have a rethink, there's absolutely nobody who's put down the right answer so far.
I don't know. I'm seeing a couple in the comments.
No.
Okay, interesting one. Maybe some contention here. So next question is coming up.
Oh no, I was discounting. There's lots of right ones there. Oh.
Yeah. I have to say. Right, next question up again. So this is from the British Pest Register. So yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what the Pest Register is for anyone that's been living underneath a hole for the last little while you give us the question.
Yeah. From the British Pest Register, I don't know who they are. What is considered to be the rarest true mole? Now, Hugh came up with this. Hugh knew it, and I didn't. Yeah.
The things that man knows. That's a really good question. But yeah, so tell us a bit about the British Pest Register while we're having a bit of time, while everyone frantically racks their memories and looks through their pest manuals for this.
Yeah, the Pest Register CPD scheme. If you want to use professional use rodenticides in 2026, you have 2 pathways. You either have to have done one of the qualifying exams in the last 5 years, and then would have to resit that exam every 5 years in order to do it. Or you can have a qualifying exam, and then every year you do 20 hours worth of CPD. Of those 20 hours, 3 of them have to be the crew approved training. Get it through the NPTA, get it through your distributors. They're all putting it on for free. It's there. And every year they're going to change the training which is given, so that it means that everybody who's going down that route hopefully will be zoned in on new stuff all the time. But yeah, British Pest Register, it's free for 2025. So it can get you on there. 2026, it's going to be same market value as anyone else. And the good thing about it is you get to look after your own stuff. You can add your own points. You can manage it. So yeah, but yeah, let's have a look.
And it's going to be a big thing. And next year, absolutely, there is going to be no the excuse of I didn't know. Ignorance will be no excuse. If you are not a member of one of the 3 recognized CPD schemes, you will find it increasingly difficult to buy professional strength rodenticides, which will definitely impact how effectively you can do these things. And it's just, if nothing else, it's a good excuse to keep up to date. As Sean says, Crew is putting out some crew mandated courses which will be available through both of the trade associations, through your consultancies, as we've had several of them on before to talk about that, and your distributors, and they'll all have to sort of like deliver this course content that Crew will feel is the most important things our industry need to know for that year. So yes, keep up to date. Don't see it as a chore, see it as an opportunity to remain at the cutting edge of these things. So yeah, there we go. That is the time just about up. So That's good. You excited about the pest register? It's been a big
Yeah.
thing for you, but
It was difficult to get there, but we're there, and I feel like hopefully, it'll help the industry. You know, it'll allow people to be more in control of what they're doing and understand the process from start to finish without this backlog at the end of the year that we always see, where people are running around trying to get things sorted. I'm hoping that we're, you know, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I mean, that'll be a
You
subject
need
for
to
another
do this
podcast
one,
later
don't
on.
you?
I need to do this one for
Yeah.
reasons that is just completely unimaginable. I don't know why I have to do this one. Lawrence from from BASF has very kindly donated a limited edition Solantra Helly Hansen fleece, and I own one of these, and they are actually exceptionally warm. They are very comfortable, and Lawrence was very pleased to donate one. The reason that we don't have a nice shiny graphic behind that is because Lawrence did a fantastic little video to it. So if you want a good laugh, go and have a look at that. But there we go. That's BASF have donated a Helly Hansen fleece. And the question that they have put up is, Sean, if you don't mind.
What year did Solantra come to the UK market?
This is an interesting one, actually.
Go on. Yeah, I'll tell you what I was going to ask you though, Al, because this isn't the question. What year did we lose calciferol?
So again, we're really bad at using the term calciferol. So we there used to be a company called Sorex years and years ago, and Sorex, based out of Widnes, there's another story there, and they had a calciferol range for many years. And some of you may be old enough to remember Neosorexa CD, which was a mix of difenacum and cholecalciferol on canary seed. Either way, for one reason or another, calciferol wasn't taken forwards. It wasn't taken forwards for renewal, and it basically dropped out of the market for many, many years. Then BASF and Bayer, now Envu, got together at a time, which we will not discuss, and decided that cholecalciferol was due a relaunch, a bringing back to the market. So they brought it back to the market as Solantra and Harmonex. But with that, we didn't lose it, so to speak. It was one of those things that it simply wasn't renewed. There wasn't any particular reason why it disappeared, other than the fact that at the time it just wasn't seen as particularly competitive. However, on its second run round, it has been exceptionally well received, especially by the UK market, which is, I have to say, as a global role that I have now, the UK market is an incredibly mature market. And I don't mean that you're all a bunch of old fogies. I mean that we're actually quite an established, and we're quite a well grounded market. And so cholecalciferol and Solantra have done phenomenally well in the UK markets. So yeah, and it's a really useful tool. It's a really interesting tool as well as cholecalciferol, because it doesn't work like our S-guards. It works in a completely alternative mode of action, which means that it's very useful for a number of reasons, ranging from compliance to environmental management to resistance management. It really is, a game changer in many respects. And so we should be thankful that actually we managed to get it back into the market when we did. There we go. That's enough of me prattling. What are your thoughts on it?
Me, love it. I love that. I love Harmonix. I'm not Harmonix and Solantra, for anyone who's there. For me, they're nearly entirely the same product. The difference is where you can use them, how you can use them, and the way that you can use them. So they work the same, they kill the same, they have to eat the same amount. The difference is that one has open use, which is your
come on, you can do this.
The word. I can't say the word. I've just said it. Alex.
Harmonix. So Harmonix has an open area use, whereas Solantra has a much broader use pattern. You can use it against Apodemus species, which means that in areas, especially
you can burrow bait with Harmonix. You can't with Solantra. The Solantra for me is a bit better in terms of dealing with sort of them bit more shitty environments. You know, the harmonics can go a bit soft, especially in the paper wrapping it's in. But you know, ultimately they are. Yeah, but anyways, come on.
This is not a competition between products, but suffice to say, thank you very much, Lawrence, for your donation. Next up, we have Bell, and Bell Labs have given a goodie bag. I'm not entirely sure what's in the goodie bag. Maybe you have a bit of a better idea. Nope.
I don't. No. It's a surprise that Bell are going to give out at some point. So it's a bit of a, like, rather than goodie bag, we should say mystery bag.
Should say mystery bag. Okie dokie. Well, in which case, let me chuck the question up. And Sean, if you wouldn't mind reading it out while I set the timer going.
What does the LD and LD50 stand for?
So, Sean, have you been in the industry long enough to remember at the trade events years and years ago, it used to be acceptable for the manufacturers to give away goodie bags of products? Do you remember that?
I don't. I've heard of it, but I didn't start going to stuff like that until, believe it or not, I think my first thing I went to properly was probably only about 3 years ago.
Oh, really? Well, so I used to be on the stands for Killgerm many years ago, and we used to give out like 1 kilo tubs. So we had these sort of like 1 kilo tubs of cut wheat, of whole wheat, of blocks or whatever it was, and everyone who came to the stands, you'd get 1 free tub per person, and we would come with 200 kilos of the stuff, and everyone would get 1 tub. But there'd always be one pest controller who would come up and they'd be like, aha, I will have my 1 free tub, please. And then they'll walk away, and about 5 minutes later they'd come back wearing a different jacket with like a drawn on moustache and be like, bonjour, I would like 1 free tub, please. And you're like, okay, fine, I'll give it to you because you're being cheeky. And they'll walk away. And then about 5 minutes later, they come back with their coat turned inside out and their hair parted the other way and be like, hello, I hear you're giving away free tubs. And you're like, no, just go on, go away. It was so bold. But round about that time as well, Bell, their stands, they're run by Michael and I've forgotten his name now. He's going to kill me. But either way, Brady used to run the Bell stands years and years ago. A lady called Brady Hughes, and it was just her, just Brady, just on her own. And every time that she would go and use the bathroom or something like that, the pest controllers would. Oh, and I'm talking about you guys here, actually. I mentioned pest controllers like I'm not talking to a group of pest controllers. You guys would hover like vultures around the stand. And ultimately, finally, when Brady, over that sort of like 6-hour day, finally decided to go off and, use the loo or go and get a sandwich, you descend on her stand, and anything that wasn't literally glued to the table would be taken out. I once saw, like, years and years ago, Bell brought out a bait box with a concrete slab in the bottom. And I saw someone running off with one of these, like, between their legs. It was so heavy, they couldn't carry it at chest height. Like, running off like a gibbon with a handful of coconuts, like giggling as they went. Poor lady never had to do a close down in her life because it was all of the T-Rex traps, all of the boxes. People would just sort of like they just nick it, and it was to watch.
we did it for Pest Software this year, didn't we? And I took Lindsay, the secretary, down, and when we left, I said, "What did she think?" And she said, "I cannot believe how crazy they go for free sweets." And she said exactly the same thing. She said there were certain people they'd come over and they'd go, "Can I have some sweets?" And you'd be like, "Yeah." And then they would, can you remember, that old could peel an orange in his pocket type thing, that sort of walk past like they were shoplifting, and it would be like, whoosh, and there'd be more sweets gone. She said it was just like, absolutely. She said, I was watching them. She said, and they just love a free sweet, a free pen, a free anything. They get a bag, don't they? And it's like there's a game, isn't there, of how much free shit can you get in your bag when you go around a trade show, isn't there?
I'll tell you another one in just a second while we put this up. So the next question coming up now. So the next question is sponsored by UK Putange Supplies, and for anyone who can't see the screen at the moment, it is an absolute smorgasbord. Yeah. It's so much.
Do you know what it is? I want to say as well, this was I think this was the first prize that was donated to us. So not only did UK Putange put in a massive thing, but they weren't trying to compete with anyone. They weren't trying to show off. It's just what they give. And when we said, like, that's a lot. Are you sure? They're like, we love supporting the industry. Two great guys up in Scotland. Fantastic. And here we go. 20 spare L pins for tunnel traps, 30 round loop tunnels, 30 flat bottom tunnels, 20 claw traps, Talpec style for those, 20 putangs, one pair of setting pliers, 10 spare putang triggers, 50 orange markers, 25 yellow markers, 25 pink markers, 10 fly bags, 10 rat snap traps, all in one to go out to someone.
Right. What's the question? That's the big question. What is the question to get all of this?
In what country does the Putange trap originate from?
Oh, well, depends on your pronunciation, doesn't it? So with that, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Absolutely lost it there. I was going to come up with another hilarious story, but it's completely been pushed out of my mind by just how much this is. And just as a side note, when this turned up, the first message we got from Hugh was, Christ alive, this box weighs a ton.
Yeah.
It's absolutely mad how much they've managed to cram into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in my garage. I can't. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. So, from the guys up there, thank you very much. A lot of people are saying France. All I'm going to say to you as a question was, in which country does it originate from?
Just throwing a little bit of shade in there now, making
I'm
people
not saying it's wrong. I'm
question
just saying
themselves.
the question is, which country does it originate from?
I'm not sure
If
whether or not you're just trying to sort of like
take the last answer.
I'm wondering if you're trying to wind people up, or if you're just arguing that France isn't a real country. There we go. I have to say, moles are one of those ones that I find fascinating, because it's a lot of what we do. Well, like I said, a lot of what we do, half what we do, I think is more akin to bushcraft than it is to anything else. And I think definitely trapping has a real feel of bushcraft to it, because you have to so intimately understand that animal and its motivations and behaviors, much more so than you do any other form of management. And I've heard you speak at length before about your setting up your fens and setting up your traps on the farm. It's a very different mindset that you have to get yourself in to be a trapper at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is, and it's one of them that I don't think anybody can teach you to be a trapper. They can show you the basics and they can help you trap things, but it is absolutely one of those things where everyone's going to do it different. You will all get your own little things, and a lot of it comes down to confidence. That being said, someone said earlier, what commission? We're not on any commission at all. I'm just telling you as I see it. And if you haven't been on Alan's course will teach you the basics of all trapping. It'll only be to do with moles, but the basics that he teaches you are exactly the same for when you're setting fens and docks and things like that around buildings, when you're setting snares. And it was quite interesting because if I'm totally honest, I don't think Alan knew that, because all he'd ever done was catch moles. And then I was like, oh my fucking word. Like when it was like the glue that held everything together for us. It was massive. Oh, next question, next thing.
Weirdly enough, as he leaned into that, so who it's Alan from AA Mole Control offering one of these fabled one-day mole trapping courses. And just while I throw the question up and Sean reads it out for us, you've been on one of these courses, haven't you?
Yeah, I was the first one ever. Should I tell you the story about how this came about? Because I know Alan won't mind. And it's
read the question out, then tell us the story.
What colour eyes do fruit flies have?
Okay, 3 minutes up.
So
now, guys,
Paul
Sean.
Stanford at that time was the owner of UK Putange Supplies. He sold it to the lads up in Scotland. But I knew Paul, and I think I bought some stuff off him, etc., etc. And he talked about Alan Jones. So I went on YouTube and I managed to find someone doing an interview with Alan in his conservatory. And he was almost arrogant when you watch it, and I just knew straight away. I thought I need, like, I could just tell he was good. You can tell a mile off. He was so confident with what he did. So I managed to get in touch with him. On his top, I think it was, I seen his fucking, so I wrote his mobile number down. I rang him up and I said, hi there, my name's Sean Mooney, I'm from Middlesbrough. Could I come down and catch moles for you? And he went, no. And I was like, oh, don't be a prick. Like, I thought I was pretty good at it. Honestly, I thought I was all right. I thought he was going to fine tune what I did. So I said to him, like, I'll come down, I'll work for free. And he went, son, you'll slow us down. And I was like, and I was, yeah, fuck off. I'm not going to slow you down. And he said, he'll slow you down. And at that point, I knew I had to go because he was just so, like, didn't want us there. So I said, listen, I'll pay you. And he went, okay, then. He said, it's 250 quid, which was like a fuck off offer because he didn't think anyone would pay it. So I said, right, I'll pay it. And I had a lad called Dave working with us at the time. So I said, right, me and Dave will come down. He went, each. I was like, you fucking arsehole, like. But I just knew. So I said, right, I'll pay you. And he was like, what? And I said, I'll pay you. And he was like, yeah, you could see him thinking, fucking hell. So anyways, we jumps in the motor in 2 weeks' time, whatever it was, and we drives to Wales to do this course. And I'm sure Alan won't mind us saying, Paul rang us up. He said he was a bit nervous, you know. I said, was he? He said, yeah. He said he wanted you to have a good time when you're there, and he really wanted you to get a bit out of it. So I didn't know this. The rocket stove that he produced, he bought for that day. His missus, the soup that they'd put on, his missus had made it home for him with the bread and all this sort of stuff that was stopping at dinner with. And we'd done 2 days with them. And we went round the first field. I think we put like 22 traps in or whatever it was around this one field. And when he said, you will slow me down, I thought he was taking the piss, and he's absolutely true. They are going in on a quad, and before they've got off that quad, I promise you, I'm not shitting you, they know where that trap's going in the floor. And if you watch the video, he'll jump out, he'll use the probe 3 times. He'll go left, right, center to make sure it's straight. He'll literally pick his spade up, 1, 2, trap in, on, done. The quad's almost still moving by the time he jumps on, and he's off to the next one. So we went round this field that fast, like on a quad. And he said, you'll have moles and traps now. And I was like, bit big-headed, innit? Bit arrogant, innit? And he looked at us and he went, son, I'll eat that fucking molehill if you haven't got moles and traps. And I was like, right, all right, game on, innit? We went round and we caught 8. I promise you, we'd caught 8 before we'd left. And I was like, oh my fucking word. And then that was how it came about. So and I promise you, this is how good he is. So we'd trapped up the first day. He never put a trap in the floor. He got me and Dave to do it, and he was pointing stuff out to her, and then he just let her crack on. We knew what we're looking for. And then in the morning, stopped overnight, we went out, and he went round the traps in the morning, and everything that had been backfilled, if the trap was filled with soil, he didn't just pull it out. He looked at the hole. He told you exactly why it had been backfilled, exactly what you'd done wrong, and he showed you exactly how to correct it. And he put the traps in to catch that mole which had been backfilled. Because if there was a patch of molehills, right, you'll say that's 1 mole, you get 1 trap. That's it. You're not allowed a second trap, because that's the time that it would take to catch another one, if that makes sense. So every trap you put in robs you of £10. So it was like 1 mole, 1 trap, bam, in, gone. So it had to be in the right place. And when it was wrong, he'd say that's why you've been backfilled, and he would get you to put a trap in the way he wanted to put it in to show you how to deal with the backfill. And by the time we'd finished them, we went round, he pulled all the traps out and he caught the moles which had backfilled with. I shit you not, that is fucking true. So if anyone thinks that they are good at mole trapping and you haven't done that, and I'm sure there'll be people who've been on this course on you, I promise you that's true.
That is the best shameless plug I think we've had for any of the courses on here. So your commission, I imagine, no, I joke. We've had Alan on before. He is you can tell by listening to him. He managed to set a mole trap behind his back in less than 3 seconds, which I don't, it is no skill. Right. But we're 1 hour in and we're halfway through the questions. So we need to potentially crack on. So the next one up, BPCA, very kindly donated a £50 Amazon voucher, which is great. And the question that they have put up is, Sean?
What year was the BPCA founded? 1958, 1942, 1971, or 1926? Now, I'm going to have a guess at this. Last, for the NPTA, I said 1981 because it was close to my birthday of 1982. So on this occasion, I'm going to say 1942 because I think that's the closest year to Al's birthday.
Right. Right.
Ooh, ooh.
I'm trying to think of something else to say that's not just yes. No, like, yeah, we spoke a bit about the NPTA before. Speak a bit about the BPCA. We've got two trade associations in the UK. BPCA is the one that I probably am closest affiliated to. I have been a member of their committees through one company or another for well over a decade, and so I am very, very sort of like aware of all of the hard work that they have done, both visibly and invisibly for this industry over all the years. And yeah, I'm still to this day very proudly a member of the BPCA because I think that the mission and the mandate that they have is phenomenal. And I don't say that to detract from any of the other trade associations that we have. I think they both do a phenomenally good job. But I've always enjoyed working with and working inside the BPCA. It's just been an absolute hoot from end to end. And they gave me an opportunity when I ran my consultancy to deliver training for them, which I'm eternally grateful for because it allowed me to very much get my legs in the early days of that. And they do some good training, and they definitely do a good trade show as well. So yeah, thoughts?
They do a lot for the industry. I know they get a bit of shit, but the reason why they get the shit is because they poke their head above the parapet. You know, let's not get that wrong. They absolutely do it. Lex needs a remote-controlled hand to slap Sean on the back of the head. So. Just so anyone doesn't know, it's a bit of a long-standing joke with me and Alex, because if I was to say who's older, me or Alex, you can take a guess. Now, most people think it's Alex. It's actually me, but we can't work out whether it's because I look incredibly young or Alex looks incredibly old. I don't know.
You had to use the word incredibly there. I mean, come on, man. I just look like I've had a bit of a tougher paper round than most, whereas you just...
I'll never get sick of rinsing Alex for looking older than me. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So I'll tell you what is funny though. Jasmine's put a comment on earlier on and she said, I didn't realise that the red on the screen was running out at 3 minutes. She said, I wondered why every time I looked, it looked different, you know, the counter.
Oh dear. Well, thank you very much for the BPCA there, and to the BPCA and to all of the people in our industry. Thank you so much for doing everything that you have done over the years to keep this industry going at the end of the day. It is, you know, very much appreciated.
Jasmine, right, next. I got a second. She said, is it because you look young, Sean, or because you're immature? All I'll say to you is be very careful because I resemble that remark.
I'd like to report this photo, please, because I am in it.
Billy McPherson said, you both look like you've been dragged through a rent-to-kill bait station backwards. Have you got your new t-shirt on? Have you got your t-shirt on, Al?
I've got a t-shirt on, yes. Right. Next prize up is from Veritas Pest Consultancy. So Veritas is Paul Westgate and also a gentleman called Sam, and of course the lovely Anna Mullins as well. And what have they donated to us?
So they've given us a set of their cards, which if you don't have them are absolutely brilliant, especially if you're going to be sitting exams, etc. It's the names, I believe it's got the Latin names and the normal names of insects. Boo, hiss, who cares about them? But for you weirdos that like them, they'll be useful for you. They have a a crossword which you get CPD with if you do that, the pest management crossword book, and they have, I think it's like a big wall chart thing. Again, it's insects, so if you're one of them weirdos, you'll probably want that. If you like insects, we're not that bothered. We like mines, pests like rats and stuff like that. But again, if you are doing any exams, if you want to further your career, if you want to further yourself, it'll be absolutely brilliant.
Read the question and then read what you just oohed about.
Oh yeah.
That was the question.
No, do you know what it is? What is the most numerous insect order in the UK? And I think I know this. And I think I know this because of you.
You probably do, because I love my bugs. And the interesting thing is probably this is a bit of a lopsided question, because Europe, and specifically the UK, was the home of taxonomy. It was, taxonomy had been going on in one form or another for a very, very long time. You had Aristotle started to try and sort of like categorize animals, but he got them, Aristotle, phenomenally bright gentleman, a lot is attributed to him. He got some things phenomenally wrong though. His thoughts on things like swallows, was that he was aware that swallows migrated, but he made the assumption that actually they migrated to the moon, and that's what the dark spots on the moon were. And then you were like, okay, so why can we see dark spots on the moon all year round? And so he revised his answer and said, actually, they fly out to sea and become fish. So Aristotle got some things very right. He got taxonomy not so right. Then there was a gentleman from, what was his name? Bohim or Bocard or something like that. But he developed the Principia Botanica, and he was one of the first to try and taxonomically identify plants, but he gave them wildly complicated names, as in he would just spell out what that plant looked like in Latin. So some things would be phenomenally long, incredibly cumbersome names. And then along came Carl Linnaeus, who was considered to be the father of modern taxonomy, and he came up with genus and species, and that's where it all started. Now, of course, now we have genus, species, order, family, class, all of the other taxonomic levels, but he was the first one to come up with genus and species, which meant that suddenly these long, wieldy, complicated, and just generally cumbersome names got just contracted down to a manageable and classifiable level at that point. And it was all done on what we call phylogenetics, so what animals looked like. So if animals looked similar to one another, they were put in the same phylum, which is where the name comes from, phylogenetics. And so these animals all got lumped together. In modern times, we use a lot of what we call microsatellite analysis to see how animals are related to each other, which is how we know things, for example, whales and shrews are evolutionarily quite close together. But you never would have phylogenetically, visually put those two animals in the same space at the same time. Anyway, that's 3 minutes of me prattling on. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk.
I'm going to
say about that, Sean.
when I didn't think that you could make insects any more fucking boring than they already are, you absolutely smashed it out of the park. I was looking at all these long words. Honestly, I was looking at all these long words, and then I seen Richard Horwood write moths, and I thought, I'm a man after your heart. That's exactly what I would have wrote. And I thought I knew it until I seen these long words, and then I don't know it anymore. So there you go. It is what it is, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, moths. I'm going with moths. I'm going with Richard with moths because I don't have a clue what the answer is. Next one. Do you want to introduce the next firm? It's your pilot.
I will do. Yeah. So Wade Environmental. I was owner, founder, director of Wade Environmental until I moved on to Pastures New. It's now been moved to a general manager and new director called Lulu. Many of you know Lulu through various avenues. She's spoken at the NPTA on the road events. She's been at all of the trade shows. She's even given some lectures and bits and bobs in the past. But what Lulu has offered on behalf of Wade Environmental is 3 one-hour coaching or consultancy sessions. So with this, you've got 3 hours of Lulu's time. She can talk you through marketing strategy. She can talk you through leadership strategy. She can talk you through anything that you want to talk about, anything business related, anything business coach related. she will be able to give you. And that's 3 1-hour sessions, or 1 3-hour session, or 2 1.5-hour sessions, however you want to split it. But you have some dedicated time from Wade Environmental to help answer some questions that you may have always wondered about in the industry. And she is a phenomenal business coach. So with that, I solidly believe that you'll get some very good value from Lulu. But the question is, Sean, to win that fabulous prize.
Oh Christ, question 15. When was Crew founded? 2005, 2010, 2013, 2016. I don't know this. I don't know it.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of background. So, of course, they've got Crew founded by Dr. Alan Buckle. And I actually remember when Alan was looking for founders for, looking for those founding stakeholders in Crew, he came to my dad's office. And it was at the time an office in Liphook. And I was sat there and I was doing some admin work for my dad. And I was overhearing this meeting between Alan and Joe as to Alan's plan for Crew, for the campaign for responsible rodenticide use, and would he and Joe, my father, and Gareth like to sign Palgar up to it. So I actually remember the little conversation that happened just before the official sort of like founding of Crew officially. So that's my little sort of like claim to fame. There we go. But Crew's one of those funny ones, isn't it? Because what's your view on Crew, Sean?
Do you know, since we've started doing the Pest register and we've been looking a little bit more at Crew, I don't think we have specifically a feeling towards it. I think it's, and I was going to ask you, the question was, why did Alan put it together? Was that because the manufacturers asked it, or it was just something that he decided to do off his own back, or what? What was the reasoning behind it?
I think the very first reason, and I don't want to speak for Alan because, of course, Alan is his own human being, and I, not to give the game away, but I was quite young when I saw that, meeting between them. But I very much got the opinion that it was Alan's baby. It was Alan's sort of like, he was trying to champion the safe use of rodenticides and champion the responsible use, should I say, of rodenticides. And it was he that approached the manufacturers and distributors to make sure that the industry had a unified voice to then sort of like make sure that the products that we had were used safely, that we were talking from the same hymn sheet, that we were all sort of like pushing, let's say, or rowing in the right direction. And I might be wrong with that. I might have sort of like misremembered, but I very much believe that was the ethos and impetus behind it. And so we like Crew has stuck to that mandate of unifying the manufacturers and the distributors to have a single voice so they can talk to the regulatory authorities.
Has it been hijacked now into something else, though? Has it now been hijacked from a let's do this to a let's make it look like we're doing something so we don't use rodenticides, rather than let's
no, I still think the message is very much one of the responsible and now safe use of rodenticides. Okay, admittedly, it's evolved, it's changed, it's changed over the many years that it's been instigated and founded. But what organisation hasn't? But I still believe the core message is very much that of preserving the tools that we have in our toolkit through teaching and education about the safe and responsible use of rodenticides. And so long as that maintains, then happy days.
You can't see the screen,
right.
can you, Al? I got a sec. You can't see the screen, can you? You've made a fatal mistake of saying when I was young. So Rob Simpson has wrote, if Lex was young, was it pre or post-war? And then Jason McFly has wrote, if Alex was a young lad, 1923.
Right. I'm going to put this to bed once and all. 2 weeks ago, I had my 40th birthday. 2 weeks ago, 40th birthday. You're all very, very mean to me. Just because I look like Gimli the dwarf doesn't mean.
Yeah.
Right. Next up, the next prize that we have for Podcast 100 is kindly donated by Killgerm.
Yeah.
And with that, what have Killgerm given us?
So they've given us one box of 10 Trapmas mouse trapping tunnels, which are like the AF tunnel but smaller for mouse traps. One box of 24 trap-based modular trapping systems. If you haven't seen those, have a look. I might be speaking out of turn. I think we might be almost their product launch for this to a degree, because nobody had seen them or knew of them. I've seen a picture.
I'll tell you what, let's ask the question, and Rob, because you're listening, in the comments, just give us a quick overview in the comments, Robs, very quickly. What are these trap-based modular systems that we're talking about? While Sean reads out the following comment. Oh, crikey, I've lost it. Oh, there we go, found it again.
In which city was behavioural resistance first formally documented in the UK?
So this is interesting. While Rob puts his thoughts on pen and paper, if he's not being too hilarious otherwise, this behavioural resistance that was documented was really interesting, because actually it wasn't so much a form of behavioural resistance, but it was a physiological resistance that manifested in a change in behaviour, because the mice that they found, they discovered weren't able to digest carbohydrates. They lacked the ability, I believe, to produce the amylase enzyme, which we usually find in our saliva and gut, which breaks down complex carbohydrates into shorter chain carbohydrates, which is what we use for energy. And these mice lacked the ability to actually produce that enzyme. And so as a result of that, there was a behavioral shift with these animals, and they actively avoided carbohydrate-based foods, and it led to a behavior resistance where they would not eat anything based on carbohydrate. And most of the food that we have, or most of the baits that we use and present to rodents, are almost all based on cereal, which is complex carbohydrates. And so we ended up having a lot of mice that were just flat out ignoring standard baits, and it got to the point that we had to, as an industry, take concentrated rodenticides, which were still available at the time, and mix them with base formulations such as things like tuna, in order to try and get them to eat the baits. So there we go. Has Rob answered? Has he given us a little bit more information?
I can tell you, basically, it is an open-topped tunnel for a mouse trap, but they click together with others, so you can almost make a mat of tunnels. Why would you use it? Why would you not? My understanding of it is, and we'll have to give it a try, where you get a nip point, you know, where you get somewhere where mice are passing through because they are absolutely hell-bent on sticking to them same path lines, aren't they? They love it. You can put them in and you can actually change the configuration, a bit like a Lego setup, to fit it into areas where you want, and create that base mat with a tunnel. But you can flip them round so your two traps point outwards, etc., etc. You can bridge gaps and what have you. It'll be interesting. Oh, there we go. Rob has said it's an open trap system that sticks together to create a body of traps. The frames direct the mice into traps in a safe way. You could have it 20 wide if you wanted, 2 traps deep. No bait box to be entered. One trap going off does not set the other. Almost a sticky board. And that is, my understanding, exactly what they were trying to deal with. What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention, Al?
Yes, that's a fairly good way of describing that, isn't it? But yeah, necessity is the mother of invention. So I'm really excited to see that, because it's something new. We love new shit, don't we, at the end of the day? Absolutely. Right. Next one up. This is a list and a half. So thank you very much for Killgerm, and anyone the person who wins that prize, I have to say, from Killgerm, please send us some pictures that we can use on the podcast. Let us know how they work, because that seems like a really interesting system. But next up we have Ratpak, and Lordy, have Ratpak put together a package for you. Go on, read that list, Sean.
in one breath. 6 rat boxes and traps, 10 micro mouse boxes and insect monitors, 4 duo mouse boxes and traps, 6 Uno mouse boxes and traps, 2 mouse stop, 1 black cat and nano trap, 1 pack of Raxit seal, 1 pack of burrow bait stores, 1 pack of snap 'em tabs curry, 1 pack of snap 'em tabs aniseed, 4 nip and ant gel, 1 fluorescent tracking gel, 3 fly bags, 3 wasp bags, 1 excluder fit tool, 3 odorizing sachets, 2 bait box keys, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, and I was about to say, and some significantly pulled back muscles from lifting up that bloody box. Right, so
Yeah.
while I chuck the question up there, so question is up now,
Oh,
and
fucking insects. Which weevil has 4 orange spots on its back? And I can give you one of the answers to this, that it is not. It is not the 4 orange spotted weevil, as I guessed it. It's not that. It's definitely not that. I know it's not that.
how have you survived so long in this industry? Honest to God, man. But no, it's not the 4-spotted weevil.
Yeah, weevils, yeah. He has a
Weevils.
funny one.
Oh,
Go on.
can I please tell my weevil joke?
Go on, yeah, go on. Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. Not the weevil joke. Yeah. I've no idea. But yeah. Go on, what is it?
I told this is stolen wonderfully from Master and Commander by Russell Crowe, but I actually told this joke live on radio once and almost got slapped by the person next to me. But basically, if I offer you 2 weevils, Sean, and I present them to you, and there's a large weevil and a small weevil, and I say, and I compel you to eat one of these weevils, either by force or by guile, which of those 2 weevils would you eat? Would you eat the large weevil or the small weevil?
I've got to be totally honest with you. I haven't got a clue what you're about eating a weevil. Like, it's like the old what would you rather, fuck a monkey or a little boy joke, this, isn't it? There's no right answer, is there?
No. That is not the path we're taking with this. Let's just keep it simple. Would you eat the big weevil or do you eat the small weevil?
I'm going to say the small weevil because I could probably just swallow it incredibly quickly.
You'd be absolutely right, because when you're presented with 2 weevils, it's always imperative that you pick the lesser of 2 weevils.
Like I've said,
The lesser.
never ever did I think that you could make insects less interesting than I find them on a day-to-day basis.
It's a talent, it's a skill, Some superheroes can fly, others can shoot laser beams. I can make almost any topic boring.
No.
I'm a joy at dinner parties.
There's a good note.
The
I took
country over.
Lindsay to the NPTA on the road day at Durham last year, back end of last year. And they give a talk and they were talking about weevils came into this thing. And very much like any lady who doesn't know anything about it. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but if you ask a woman as a general rule, what is this tool? And it looks anything like a hammer, the answer will be little hammer. When I was a farrier, I would pick up a stamp, a fuller, whatever it was, and I'd say to Carly, what's this? She'd look at us and go, little hammer. Everything's a little hammer. Lindsay is now exactly the same. If there is an insect that is found anywhere in our office or anything, she's like, oh, I found one of them weevils. Like, it's not a fucking weevil. Like, she just absolutely believes everything is a weevil.
And if you believe everything's a weevil, eventually you will be correct.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. But it is definitely
Weevils.
not the 4 orange spotted weevil.
No, absolutely not.
Right.
Right.
Hang on. Alex, you were great company over dinner. So much I nearly killed you after, from Jasmine story.
Oh. So yeah, very quickly, and sorry, Jasmine, I'm going to tell the story. We were in America. We were at Pest World. I met up with Jasmine, and I have the worst luck traveling, and apparently this has rubbed off to Jasmine as well, because any mode of transport I get into when I'm in a foreign country just ends in peril. But we went for a lovely meal at a buffalo steakhouse, and then on the way back, Jasmine kindly drove us there and drove us back. But on the way back, got a little bit befuddled by the junctions and the direction of travel. And for a brief heartbeat of a moment, we were very much still driving in the British style, as opposed to the American style, which would be on the right. So, so there we go. Nothing too exciting there. She just almost killed everyone in the car.
Right on the wrong side of the road.
It's so easy to do because they don't have roundabouts. So literally anything is possible there because it's all junctions. But there we go. Sorry, Jasmine. Didn't mean to sort of like throw you under the proverbial there. But there we go. Next up, we have Pelsis. And they have given us 2 prizes there. One is an AccuSpray and the other is a hand bulb duster. And while we put the questions up there, I'm going to ask you in the 3 minutes that we have you ever used the AccuSpray? And please tell me after you've read the question.
What regulation affects the use of ladders in the workplace? Now, if you want to be a knob and you want to go, it could be this, it could be that. There's clearly one set of regulations which is more damning than the rest. So, yeah, we're looking for the main one. No, I've never used that.
No. I was about to say, we're looking for the regulations, and for those who are up to date on your legislation and law, there are many acts that will mention these, but we're specifically looking for the regulation, and the key is the word regulation there. So that is a bit of legislation that sits within an act, not the act itself. But yeah, if you're not, they look like good bits of kit.
Yeah, I've never used one. It looked a really handy bit of kit. I think as well, that bulb duster, it was kind of old school, wasn't it? We didn't use them that much. I think the bulb duster, now that we've lost Vicam, is going to become more and more important, because the truth is you're going to have to spend more time trying to find the nest. If you can find the nest, gone are the days of just puffing in and running. If you're up close and personal, the bulb duster is a fantastic bit of kit. And I'm sure that they're going to become, full circle, and people will start using them. If you're in a tight spot, you can't get your DR5 in or whatever it is, like, I'll probably buy one of them, in all honesty. I will absolutely probably buy one of them. Really like them. And the sprayer, I've only ever used Gloria's. Have you used the other one, Al? The AccuSpray?
I've not used the AccuSpray. I actually have a couple of, I don't have Gloria's, I have a couple of old Hudsons that were my father's that he passed to me and I refurbished to learn how to make them. So old school, some very old school Hudsons are the ones that I have to hand. Do you know what I use? I have 2 bulb dusters for. I use one for, using insecticide. Do you know what I use the other one for?
What?
I use it for fluorescent powder to apply. I put a bit of fluorescent dust in there, and then if I think that I've got a rat coming in and out of a void in a wall or a hole or a crack or a crevice, rather than trying to sort of like flick a bit of fluorescent powder down there, I use a bulb duster to just squirt some fluorescent tracking dust inside the voids where I think they are, and then come back a couple of days later and follow it around. A really useful tool for doing that.
So here's something. I've bought a new sprayer, and it's we've kept it nice and clean with just water, because we've taken the tip off and we are using it for the putting nematodes into into under block paving and stuff like that. It pushes up and you've got them big gaps and you could just empty stuff into it, because the thinking is that ground underneath there is nearly always damp, because of the bricks on top of it, etc., etc. So I will let you know how that goes.
Yeah, do. And we should be having someone to talk about nematodes over the next little bit. Yep, Richard Horwood. Bulb duster was my go-to bit of kit for ages. Precise application to nest entries. Thank you very much. Brilliant bit of advice. Lovely stuff. Next question. We're I say coming towards the end, but we're not really. We've got several more to go. We have our good friend Clive with this next one.
Fucking great. I've done this course as well. It's one place on the September foundation course for the safe removal of honeybees. If you're thinking about doing it, it's a brilliant course to go on. If you're not thinking about doing it, but you're going to send that work out, or you want to educate your customers, or you're going to try and subcontract it out, etc., it's a great course to go on. You'll learn loads. You'll learn an absolute load of stuff on it, a load. And think, Clive might tell us different. I'm pretty confident he now runs the advanced straight after it. So if you do them, you can get them both done on the same thing. So really, 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 really good course. Learn loads. If you're not a beekeeper, you'll probably end up being a beekeeper after you've done it as well, because it really goes into the interesting bits of it. Great thing. And I can tell you what this question is without even hearing it.
So the question is,
yeah. How long does it take from egg to hatching for a queen bee to develop? 16, 24, 21, or 36 days?
So did you ever hear any of Clive's talks at the NPTA on the road days?
That's how I met Clive.
Okay, that's great. I mean, that's how I met Clive as well, actually, at a couple of those. And I was so taken aback with his courses, because it was, I was expecting, honestly, and Clive, forgive me for saying, I was expecting someone to come in talking about bees in the pest management industry to be very sort of like negative and, look at us as a bunch of bee killing twats. But he came with such a pragmatic attitude towards what we had to do. And, he said, some instances, he believes that, almost all bees can be controlled and removed. But there are instances where, all options must be considered. And it was that wonderful sort of like element of pragmatism that actually said, that this is a gentleman that knows the reality of his work. And from then, followed very closely what you've done. I've never been on one of these courses, but that's probably more of a fault of mine than anyone else's. You have. I mean, what are these courses like? What are people going to be getting involved with?
See, Clive's, I always say, Donna, that you want someone who is doing the job if they're going to be teaching you, and he's absolutely doing that job day in, day out. I speak to him probably every day, so I will plug his stuff. He's great. But he's going to run you through a bit of legislation, a bit of health and safety stuff, but it's practical stuff. It's not like, it's the things that you are going to have to consider. It's not there for the reason, but he's also going to run you through actually taking the colony out. I believe on the second day, he'll bring a couple of nuke boxes that he's put bees in, but he's just let them build wild comb. So everyone will get a chance to start pulling a bit of comb out, putting it in frames, looking at the direction, looking at the angle of it, looking at all that sort of stuff. It is the foundation. It's not going to tell you how to do a bee removal, but it is absolutely, if you are that way inclined, it's going to put you on the right course. And then the advanced is more to do with taking bricks out of walls, what you're going to do, etc., how you're going to get there, planning, preparation. But he does something which is incredibly interesting. I've never seen anybody do this on a training course before. What he does is at the start of the course, he'll get you an answer to a quiz, but he'll also get you to price a job up, what you think you probably charge. And then at the end of it, he goes through and he gets you to price it up again to see where you think you are now, knowing what you know and the price that you think is right. And for me, that's like, it's absolutely brilliant, because he'll start to point things out to you from a business point of view of how you can not lose money and make money doing bees. So really, really good course. Really, really good course.
Absolutely. And I think that's the bit that we are, I wouldn't say missing, but it's such a fundamental part of our business, is understanding how to correctly price for jobs. And certainly large, complex jobs like bees, it could be forgiven that you could really do yourself a financial mischief if you aren't fully cognizant of all of those little bits and bobs that go into pricing these things up. Right. We're on to the last two now. Oh, hang on. What's happened there?
Hang on. Go on, go again. Did you go back or forwards there? You go backwards? You're pressing backwards.
Oh no! I've put the wrong one up. Oh no!
Wow.
So it's not another one by we. Oh no! I did this on the flight. I'm so sorry. This next question is not again kindly donated by We Start Apries. I can only apologise. It's from Syngenta, and Syngenta have offered a £25 Amazon gift card as well.
Hang on,
So
stop there 1 second. Stop there 1 second. What do you think Clive's business is called?
We Start. Oh no, we've been through this before. It's West Art, isn't it? It's not
Yeah,
We
it's
Start. It's
West
West
Start
Art.
Avery's, not We Start Avery's, because that would be it's West Start Avery's, folks.
Sorry, Clive. But you know, oh yeah, well, it's better than me saying Wes Tart, isn't it? It could have gone
Oh
much
yeah,
worse.
West Tart. Yeah, I never see that. Yeah,
Wes Tart.
brilliant. Yeah.
This is like, sorry, did you ever see Susan Boyle, on whatever the hell she was on, the singing show, and they launched Susan's album party as a hashtag. But at a glance, Susan's album party looks like Susan's anal bum party, which is just not,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that is proper naughty, isn't it?
So, Clive, I apologise. I'm a little flustered. This next question is sponsored by Syngenta. Sorry, Syngenta. Sorry, Richard. Sorry, Sean. Sorry, everyone else on the team. £25 gift card. And the question is, Sean, please do us the honours,
Yeah.
please.
What year did Syngenta first draft the concept of their digital remote pest monitoring system, Secure Choice? 2003, 2012, 2015, 2020.
So this is it. We talk about digital technology being cutting edge, but there have been a lot of digital solutions around for, and I don't know the answer to this one actually. I don't. It would be a guess if I was to make one. But we have had a lot of solutions around for a little while. There has been people trying to push the boundaries and the frontiers. It's just, it's interesting, and we are going more digital, whether we like it or not, either from our reporting to our monitoring to our control. There is an element of digital smart coming into all of this, and I'm excited by it, I have to say. And that should be no surprise to anyone who's listened to this podcast.
Someone called Hugh Radford has put a comment and says, you know what they say, pay peanuts, get monkeys. Well, yeah. Right, yeah. Thanks,
yeah,
Hugh.
and that can be even more. Thanks, Hugh. Yeah. Sean, are you getting paid peanuts? Because I ain't getting paid at all for this.
yeah, that's why we do shit, because we don't get paid. We don't get, that's because we're an independent podcast, you see, Al. It means that nobody pays us. That's what independent means, just in case anyone's listening and thinks we're not. But that's fine.
No,
not a problem.
Nobody pays us, but apparently a lot of people are willing to sort of like put a bit of sponsorship aside. Again, I mean, I can't fathom just how, or I can't express just how unfathomable it has been to see all of these people supporting us. So wow.
Fish for London. Fish for London said it's like a PG Tips adverts here. I'm telling you. I remember the PG Tips adverts. Do you?
I remember the PG Tips adverts as well. Yeah. What do you mean? Do you remember them?
It's
like you can't on one hand say you're too young to remember PG Tips, and then the next time saying which
I just thought you were that old that you had dementia.
I really hate you all. This is bullying. This is what this is, and you're loving it, and so am I really. There we go. Lordy. What was I about to say? We got a couple of minutes left. That's so much smart technology out there.
Just quickly, that stumped me. What year did Syngenta first draft the concept for their digital remote pest monitoring system?
I don't want to hazard a guess, because I would, if I was to hazard a guess, I'd say this has been a long time in the making. And certainly I know that, Syngenta, formerly AstraZeneca, formerly ICI, formerly X1Z, they have been at the edge of a lot of innovation, and they've been very strongly tied to the agricultural sector, which are, they adopted digital, I think, a long time before we did. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the answer to that one is a lot longer than we anticipate, simply just because Syngenta's a huge organization that has roots in so many different areas that it just.
Why is my T-shirt on back to front, and why is yours the right way in the camera?
I don't know. Mine looks as though mine's back to front. So one of us is right and one of us is wrong. And I'm glad it's taken you an hour and 43 minutes to realize this. So there we go.
I know the answer to that. Why is my T-shirt back to? Can you read your T-shirt correctly? Is it left to right, or is it right to left?
Mine's back to front, and yours is the right way round. But I don't feel this is making. I don't think this is making compelling listening at the moment.
But someone said they're both correct. Oh fucking hell, that stressed us out. Time's up. Next question.
Right, so this is the last question of the night, and it is sponsored proudly by 1ENV. And while I get all of the behind the stuff going, Sean, what's 1ENV donated to close the show?
10 Rotec Vanguard wrap boxes, 10 Rotec Mono mouse trap boxes, 20 Rotec compact rat bait stations, 1 Alpha Sect, 1 Cypher RTU, 1 litre, 1 Eradisect Strike. So they are absolutely products you're going to use. Do you know, when I was speaking to Rob about this, Rob said to us, he said, the one thing I've noticed about all your prizes tonight is not one of them is the things that they've had left lying around in the storeroom that they've wanted to get rid of. He said it's testament to us that everyone's given bloody good prizes. And I thought, yeah, you're right. Like, big up the pest control industry, you know. Big up the pest
absolutely.
Industry. Yeah. Question. Do you want to give this one, Al, or do you want me to do it?
I can't read it because I've got the wrong. Literally, this entire time I've been looking at the same sort of like 3 bars on the screen. I've not been able to see anything else.
How many ppm, parts per million, I know that because I'm clever, does an amateur use S-score need to be below? 22, 25, 50, or 30? Now, I'm going to guess that it's 30. The reason why I say that, because I'm almost confident, and I might be wrong on this, that the vast majority of them are 25, but I'm nearly confident that I've seen one at 27. I'm sure it was a broad difference. I think it was at 27, but I might be wrong because that may have been, in fact, I'm almost certain it was. I think that was a professional use product at 27 and it worked no bother.
So there's a couple of things that separate a professional rodenticide from a rodenticide designed for the general public. One of them is this particular facet here, and the other one is the volume of bait that you can purchase in a single transaction or a single package, shall we say. So general public rodenticides shouldn't be in pack sizes any greater than 300 grams, whereas professional ranges start from 3 kilos and go up in increments depending on the manufacturer's whim from there. So the other facet of this, if it's a general public purpose rodenticide, won't be any greater than 300 grams, and also won't have a ppm any greater than within that.
In fact, if I remember rightly, it was Brodificum wheat bait. That's how long ago I would have bought it. So it was definitely professional use. And we bought it in 20 kilo sacks, I think, from Killgerm. And I think that was 27 parts per million. Because I can always remember thinking, why do you need 50 parts per million Brodificum? Because we used to roll them over with that. But now we don't use Brodificum in any form unless we can only get the formulation with Brodificum, if that makes sense. So if we want like a lipo gel, you can't get that in anything else. We'll get Brodificum, but we just stick with a thingy. Here's a question for you, Al. Is this true? Richard Horwood had said, useless fact, if it's under 30, it's not classed as carcinogenic, but if it's over 30, it is classed as carcinogenic.
So not carcinogenic, reprotoxic is what we're looking for there. And yeah, reprotoxic, which means can cause damage to the unborn child. So yeah, we've got a little bit of time to talk about this because it's the last question. But yes, anything above 30 parts per million is classed as a reprotoxin, because, and it's quite an interesting story. And I'm going to go back to the beginning on this. Warfarin, which is a, so let me just bring on the screen so I can see your face. Warfarin, which is in the same family, chemical family group as all of the escars that we use. So all of the FGARs, all the escars, all basically based off warfarin. It all affects the vitamin K cycle within the body. They found that there is this thing in medical terms, so sodium warfarin, and specifically sodium warfarin, which is given as a medicine. They found that if you were to give sodium warfarin to women who are pregnant, especially late stage pregnancy, this thing can occur called fetal warfarin syndrome. Now, I might be a little bit off with my numbers, but from what I remember, no, much worse. So basically, fetal warfarin syndrome. So women that are given clinical doses of warfarin whilst they are pregnant have something like a 1 in 36 chance of their child being born with fetal warfarin syndrome. Of those children, of those 1 in 36 children born with fetal warfarin syndrome, something like 1 in 6 will have complications which may result in that child not surviving it to full term, which, when you look at it, those numbers are very, very high, because usually numbers of concern are like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 2,000. So have something like 1 in under 100 is a phenomenally low number. But the thing with this is this was sodium warfarin that was given clinical doses, so given enough of sodium warfarin to someone who was pregnant in order to elicit a physiological response. So we're talking quite a lot here. And as a result, this fetal warfarin syndrome was documented. And because escars share the same mode of action as sodium warfarin, it was decided that actually they have the capacity to have the same damage to the unborn child. Now, there are a couple of elements of this that you have to bear in mind. Number one, clinical doses, or means that they have to take enough of the substance to actually have an effect. Number two, sodium warfarin's a salt and is able to move across biological membranes significantly more effectively than the escars, which are not salts, and actually they struggle to get across most biological membranes. So there are some very big differences between medically used warfarin and what we use in pest control. But that being said, because they share a mode of action, they share the same risk category, and it was deemed, therefore, around about the same time that stewardship came in, around about 2015, that because there was this risk, we should restrict access to the general public, and additionally, any products above a certain ppm should hold this warning symbol saying that they can be damaging to the unborn child. And that's the long and the short of it. It was based on a risk and some bad science. And you're giggling because something has been said in the comments, hasn't it?
This is just my sense of humour. Hughes wrote, "If you give crack to a pregnant lady, it may well harm the baby." Lol.
This is true. So don't give, but the thing is we look. Well, you can look at this in one of two ways. You can look at this and say, it's just an extra label, it's making our life hard. Or alternatively, you can look at it and say, it's given us a full range of products which have been deemed, more appropriate to use around domestic environments. And as you say, 25 ppm in a lot of situations, especially if you're trying to roll a mouse over, is in fact all you need. So there we go. We have one last question.
Just before you move on from that, because I just want to ask this quick. I once got told that the only difference between real terms of rolling a rat over is that it takes 25 to 50 ppm is actually the length of time it takes to roll it over rather than the amount, if that makes sense. That not true.
Not true. You've got that bum to face. So basically, ask to face, bum to face. So with that, so long as they've hit the lethal dose amount, so the amount it requires to take a lethal dose, it will still take that 3 to 5 day lag period. So let's take difenicum and rats, for example, because the maths is easy. 50 ppm difenicum is on average 10 grams of 50 ppm bait to roll over a 300 gram weight. With 25 ppm, it's assumed that it's a linear relationship, so a 25 ppm bait would require 20 grams to roll over a rat. Now, if you get that 10 or 20 grams into a rat in the first night, it's still going to take 3 to 5 days, regardless of whether it was the 10 or the 20 grams. The difference being, though, is if you're in a high food competition environment where that rat is eating 30 grams of food total a day, but it's only eating 5 grams of your bait a day, with the 50 ppm, it'll take 2 days to get a lethal dose. With the 25 ppm, it'll take 4 days to get a lethal dose. And so that's where the time discrepancy can occur, is in achieving that lethal dose, not in the time it takes the animal to die after getting a lethal dose. And you're grinning again, like I'm going to have to turn the comments on, aren't I, just to see what people are saying.
So Jasmine Emerson wrote, Hugh Radfad, we just can't have fun, can we? I'm taking she means pregnant ladies. And Mario said, Hugh Radfad, nah, that's not right. It's been tested many times. They are resilient.
I love our industry. We have a very specific sense of humour, don't we?
Oh, you can't laugh. Fucking hell. Like, everyone knows the joking. Listen,
Exactly.
public service broadcast, me and Al do not recommend pregnant ladies taking crack cocaine. We just don't. You know, we don't. Not today.
That was never in discussion. Why have you put that up? Like, that's going to be clipped down now. That's going to be like the banner line of the newspaper.
If crack to a pregnant lady, it may well harm the baby. We just can't have any fun, and it's been tested. They are resilient.
I'm going to go on to the last question. I'm going to do it. So this last question is a tiebreak.
Yeah.
There is no prize associated with this. However, if we get to a situation where there is, 2 people or 2 names, or we can't find, somebody has not accepted their gift, this will be the way that you get an extra chance at winning a gift or winning a prize. Here we go. Question 22 to close the night down is this.
What genus do voles belong to?
This is specifically the field vole here, not necessarily the bank vole, because specifically the field vole. Which genus does field voles belong to?
What's genus again?
Meadow voles.
Meadow.
Species. Yeah, meadow voles. Yeah, this is going to. Thanks, Hugh. This is not going to be a reel. This is not what we're going to do. Oh, Christ.
Isn't it like closely related to an elephant or something like that? Isn't it something ridiculous?
Potentially. I'm not sure. Actually, I've not looked at that one.
Or am I just getting elephant shrew or something like that?
Maybe I think you're getting mixed up with an elephant shrew. An elephant shrew. Right, here's a question for you. Is an elephant shrew a rodent, Sean? Is it a rodent?
Me dogs think it is.
It's okay. And Lindsay thinks everything's a weevil.
An elephant shrew, I'm pretty sure of that. So as far as I'm concerned, do you know what it is? I believe it or not, I grew up loving watching David Attenborough. I could, and I can remember him doing an episode where the elephant shrew was spoken about. I can remember it killing other shrews and eating their brains because it was the most nutritious part. Can I fuck remember what he said it was a member of, though? Don't have a clue.
I remember that same documentary, but I remember the elephant shrew running hell for leather around little sort of like racetracks out in the savannah. I do not remember them. Yeah.
I know they're quite violent, aren't they? Them little rodents.
Not rodents. That's the thing. Elephant shrews, in fact, all shrews, are not rodents. They don't have the correct, well, they have too many teeth, put it that way. Rodents, classically, have their two incisors, top and bottom, diastema, and then a variable number of molars, depending on species. So rats have a few more than mice, and I think squirrels have a few more than both of them put together. And then voles have very weird, because voles are herbivorous. Or largely herbivorous. Their back teeth look very much more like those of you would expect to see a goat or a horse, or a cow, in the sense that they are very closely interlocking and at an angle, which gives them one great big flat plate, which they use to then macerate and chew up things like grass and things like other vegetation. So if you ever have the chance to look at a vole skull, which I'm sure we all do at some point, their back teeth are fascinating, really weird shapes.
I've got a question for you as well.
Another.
You probably get this. I'm sure there'll be people who get it. But if a horse is equine and a cow is bovine, what is a deer?
I do know this. I do know this. I hate you a little bit, because I can't think of it right now.
It's a lot more fucking interesting than insects, isn't it, son? Eh?
That is all largely subjective.
To which fish roll tasty. What is a deer?
I don't know. There,
Oh, I got it. It's Cervine. Yeah, Cervine. He obviously does a bit with deer. Only deer people know that. Cervine, yeah. Well, it's been emotional, chaps. 100 episodes.
That's 100 episodes. And I'd have to say, we give props to Hugh. Sean and I obviously do our part, but probably the one person we haven't, or people that we haven't thanked more than any others here, is people listening. Because we wouldn't do this if people didn't listen. And as I said before, like we can see the metrics. So live, there's a phenomenal number of people, and we can see there. Most of you lurk, and in fact, even now, you'll probably find that more of you are sort of like lurking and sort of like doing one or two comments and not getting involved. Get involved. If these guys can sort of like debase and embarrass themselves, you can get involved. But with that, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, we're on YouTube, we're on my LinkedIn, where a couple of you guys are probably listening to right now. There's loads of different ways, and we're getting to at least 1,000 more every week. So be part of the community, and if it wasn't for you guys listening, guys and girls, it wouldn't be any fun. It wouldn't be any fun. We wouldn't do it.
Yeah, thank you for the support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for this. It's just, truthfully, I never dreamt ever for one second that we would get shown the support that we've been shown for doing this. Like, I just didn't. I didn't think it would be that interesting. We did at the start. We did wonder whether we would be able to get like 20 guests, didn't we? Do you know what I mean? Like, that was the one. And they just keep coming, good guests, and they've had some great guests, and we've got to recycle some of them as well, haven't we? And we're not even at the point.
No. Not recycle. I mean, recycle sounds like we're just sort of like there were some of our guests. We discuss them all the time because we occasionally have a little bit of meeting and a chinwag and a sort of like three-way call. Yeah. But there are some guests that we have just loved so much, and when we say we often say, "Oh, we got to get you on again." Now there are some that we genuinely want to get on, but there's so many other diverse people in this industry. Trying to find a time to get someone back on again is actually quite challenging, but it will happen, and we'll bring them on.
Because if we're honest, most of the guests are fucking old on. We might have to recycle them.
We're going to have to be quick. Some of them aren't going to be around forever. Me, I'm not going to be able to do this. And we actually have some really, like, not to sort of like talk out of turn, but we've got some really good ideas coming up for the beauties and beasties coming forward. We're not going to sort of like change everything, but we definitely have a couple of really good ideas which will be coming up in the next, I don't know, 6 months or so. I think we're going to probably launch them just at the beginning of next year. But one of them I'm really excited about, and we're looking for the right people to try and help us with it. And that's all I'll say.
Congratulations, guys. Love listening and watching in New Zealand. Keep it up. Like amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
How did you hear about us in New Zealand? How did you find us, Rachel? Very quickly, tap her away. How on earth did you, all the way from New Zealand, how did you find us? You know, many thanks. Weirdly addictive. Yeah, I think that I want that to be my new tagline. Lex Wade, weirdly addictive.
Beauty or Beastie are weirdly addictive. I think we're going back to the pregnant ladies on crack stuff there.
Oh, we got away.
Just quickly, from Dan Graham, love the ones with the Yanks, never dull. Now, if the Tales from the Crawl Space one is what I think it's going to be, they have literally put us on notice that they are going to be the worst behavior they possibly can, because nobody has ever allowed them to do a live podcast before. Their behavior is that fucking appalling. So if you want to watch one, that's sure to go out the window. Tales from the Crawl Space is probably going to be the one to watch.
Excellent stuff. So yeah, this is going to be the title line of our court case, isn't it? You know, like the movie of your life. You know, just as we're being defenestrated through a window and the camera clips, and it's like, oh, do you wonder how I got here? Well, it all started with Tales from the Crawl Space. You know, let me take you back. Oh, lovely stuff. Sean Miller, ha ha ha, they will destroy you. Should I be here? Oh, Rachel found us on Spotify.
Awesome.
Excellent. That's
absolutely
so
awesome.
That's so amazing at the same time. Absolutely awesome.
Awesome.
Oh, right. Well, we've just passed the 2-hour mark, and I'm pretty certain a lot of you
There's
probably
always
have
going to be
things to do on Friday.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. So, cut-off date is tomorrow, Monday evening at 6, I think it is. I can't remember. Monday evening, whenever it is. We're going to do some things to launch who's got what, and then we'll divvy up prizes. Some will come direct from the gifter, some will come from us where they've sent them in, etc. Not sure. You'll probably have to bear with a little bit, but we will get them out to you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he will get them out to you, because if it's left to Sean, you know, just you'll be waiting 3 to 5 business years. There we go. Lovely stuff. So with that, I think I'm going to bid you an adieu. So from me, that's goodbye.
And from me, good evening. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Beauties and Beasties podcast.